Well, if there's one weakness I have in the garden, that's keeping up with herbs. And joining us today is Jacqui Savage, who is known as our Stillwater herb expert in this area. Hi, Jacqui. Welcome back.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Jacqui was on the show last fall, and we've asked Jacqui to come out to our gardens and help us renovate and give us some ideas and help pull the herbs through the summer. And Jacqui, the first thing you're in front of is what?
French tarragon.
Okay. What are you doing with that one?
Well, I'm going to be cutting this down, and then I'm going to take it and make some vinegar so that I have fresh French tarragon and vinegar for the winter use.
Now, is it a good idea to keep it sheared throughout the summer? What suggestions?
Not necessarily. I would say harvest it as you need it, and really the best time to harvest it is in the fall when you want to dry it.
Okay. And in front of that one, we had some sage that we have pulled up, and you can see the clump there where it's died out. That one we estimate is about 5 years old, and you're telling us that's part of the problem. What's wrong with that one?
It's extremely woody, and I have found in my past experience that 3 years is the limit.
Okay.
And then you really do need to replant.
Okay. And I think we probably got a little bit of winter kill as well with it, but we've pulled it out and we're just going to dispose of it. And if you'll notice, that area is a little bit shady. And Jacqui, you brought a couple of things that are good for that area. Tell us about those.
Well, this is the salad burnet. It's got a nice cucumber flavor, so you can use it instead of cucumbers. And this is Amsterdam celery, and it's got a wonderful, wonderful celery flavor to it.
And so they like a little bit of shade.
They definitely like a little bit of shade.
Okay, especially on these hot summers. Now, this one in front of us is really feeling the effects of the heat and drought. What is that one?
That's thyme, and it definitely needs to be watered.
Needs a drink of water, too. Now, it's hard to tell, but there's a little bit of flowers on there. What should we be doing for that?
I would go ahead and cut the flowers off. Again, you can use the flowers in salads or in a vinegar, but keep the flowers off, because once a plant starts to go to flower, then you lose some of the oils in the leaf.
So really watching it start to put flowers on determines whether or not we should be shearing them and keeping them going through the summer. Is that right?
Right.
Now we've got several kinds of chives here. What should we do with those?
Well, the chives can be harvested when they're not this droopy. They need to be crisp.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can freeze them. I found is that you take them, you cut them, and roll them up into, clean them off, clean all the debris away, then roll them up in some Reynolds wrap, and then as you need them, you can cut off what you need.
Okay. And so you're just freezing them after you've washed them off? Then?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't find that they dry very successfully.
Okay.
And you can do the same thing with your garlic chives.
Okay. Now, in this area, we've got a couple of perennial type plants, and you have some suggestions on those as well, don't you?
I pull them,
Okay.
take them out, put them in another spot.
So in other words, it's better to have the perennial type herbs in a bed together with a little bit more space, and the annual type things in a separate one. Now, Jacqui, show me on the dill there what you use on both parts of those.
Okay, on the dill, I use the seeds, which you can see are prime for dill pickles. And then I also use the leaf. What I allow my dill to do is go ahead and reseed, and then it germinates and comes up as a nice, healthy, leafy plant that I harvest in the fall.
Okay.
Because I like the leaves better.
Right. Well, this time of year, it's really not a good time to be planting some of the herbs, but of course you can still find them in the garden centers, and they just need a little special care. We've put a few in here. Mention these two that we've put in.
Okay, this is the winter savory, which will become a nice shrub, and this is Greek oregano, which harvested and dried is better dry than fresh.
Okay. And of course we've watered them in and given them a little shot of fertilizer, and the sun is so intense. You were telling me, when is the best time to really plant them?
The best time is as the sun goes down.
In the evening.
In the evening, so it has at least all evening to get adjusted to being put someplace else.
Okay. And of course, one thing that you can do is use like window screens, and that kind of helps shade them a little bit and give them a little bit more protection. And we use that even when we put in our fall garden. So those are some handy things to keep around that will help. And I guess we just need to water them and keep it up with them. But we tried something a little different there. Tell us what that one is and the purpose of that.
Okay, that's rosemary, and of course it's considered a tender perennial. And what I do with mine is I sink the pot in my herb garden, so I have a visual of all herbs. And then before the frost comes, then it's pulled and taken into the house or my greenhouse.
Okay. Show us, Jackie, how you'd plant one this time of year with all the heat.
Okay, most of the time in your garden centers, these plants are going to be extremely root bound. So you want to take and kind of tickle their feet, so to speak, and then put them in and water them in well. And of course, keep them shaded for a couple of days. Now this should be a nice, healthy plant in a couple weeks.
And what is it you just planted?
Oh, this is parsley, which I couldn't believe you did not have in your garden.
An herb garden without parsley.
Parsley.
Well, of course, Jackie, as you're watering that, another thing that's real important this time of year too is to mulch to help hold that moisture and moderate those soil temperatures. We've got some cottonseed hulls here, and again, we're just going to pack those around without getting them too thick, and that will help us in our mulch, and again, it keeps the weeds out. But one thing that mulch does, and you've had a little bit of experience with that, is attract sometimes insects. So how would you monitor plants and stuff during the summer? What advice would you have there?
For the most part, herbs usually aren't threatened by insects, except for your dill, which gets the caterpillar, and your parsley. So you just have to come out and watch them, see what's happening. And if you see that leaves are beginning to disappear, obviously you've got a problem.
Right. So again, inspection, but it's still definitely a benefit to mulch versus
Absolutely.
afraid of trying to get any insects in.
Right.
Well, Jackie, also it's good to have herbs in containers and stuff, and we'd like for you to come back sometime and talk with us more on that, and we'll also have Jackie come back and give us a few ideas in the kitchen as well. Thanks again.
Well, thank you for having me on.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.